So the Toronto Raptors don't have the longest track record in the world, but it has been nearly 25 years, thousands of games, and we can now identify the exact best single second in franchise history. It's kind of amazing when you think about it. This is a team that's had a lot of people in and out of that uniform. It's played later round playoff games with supposedly bigger stakes, and yet all of it turned out to be just lead up to Kawhi doing this.
It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger? Game, series, Toronto has won.
No one can believe it.
Amazing. Guys are on set here.
Look at this. Look
It's
at this.
amazing. And Jurassic Park exploding.
Wow.
But guys, you were just talking about that during that sound. Look at it from ground level with the NBA's Phantom Cam around the corner, away from Ben, over Joel Embiid's outstretched hand. Is it short? It's bouncing. 2, 3, 4 times.
God.
When I tell you, you might never see anything quite like that again, it's because there has literally never been anything like that before. You know how kids play in the driveway and say to themselves, Game 7 and clock running down, he launches it. Well, that's all nice, but it's actually never happened until Kawhi last night. That shot was the first buzzer beater in a Game 7 in NBA history.
Wow.
And the symmetry for Toronto in particular is just ridiculous because it was 18 years ago that Toronto was playing in the second round against the Sixers in a Game 7, and Vince Carter gets an inbound pass from none other than Del Curry to try to win with a last-second shot. And look how that one went.
Vince Carter coming to it. Also watch the quick pass to Curry after he inbounds. Curry has it. Carter trying to get free. Carter at the buzzer. No good. And the Sixers hold on and advance to...
Yeah, that one bounced off the rim too, but it didn't fall, and so launched nearly 2 decades of dashed hopes and mounting insecurity for Toronto. Even when the Raptors were good, and they have been good a lot in recent years. LeBron James was always there to make them feel bad about themselves, hitting shots like, oh, I don't know, this one, basically playing the role of Lucy, pulling the football away from Charlie Brown. The Raptors just never had enough, never had the guy who could come through when he absolutely needed to, never had a dragon who could torch a whole city by himself. Until last night, when Kawhi was that man, knocking down that shot and screaming his head off afterward. Kawhi would later say he hasn't shown emotion on the court like that in 5 years, since the Spurs won the title in 2014, and that should tell you something. This was so much more than just a ticket to the conference finals. It was validation, not just of the trade that brought him to Toronto, but of the franchise itself and its ability to produce the kind of transcendent moments that had so long seemed reserved for other teams. And there is some poetry that he did it over Embiid, who wants nothing more than those kinds of moments for himself. Joel, very emotional on the court post-game, tears streaming down his face as he talked to Marc Gasol, then simply he broke down on Mark's shoulder there. Raptors GM Masai Ujiri knows Joel's pain. He's been there before plenty. And last night, he had tears in his eyes as well. But finally, it was for a very different reason. It's been thousands of games, nearly 25 years. And now, the Raptors own a playoff moment etched as the best of its kind in NBA history. And no matter what happens from here, no one can take that away. So, Scottie, Kawhi Leonard. Why are you crying? What is happening next to me?
This is the
What?
dude.
What are you up to? The Kawhi, the...
I got a little emotional too.
You
There.
did? Is it Joel Embiid that got you?
Yeah, a little
Little much?
Dude, I tweeted that. I was like, look, say whatever you want. There's always like the crying Jordan. There's all these memes. But if you've never cried after a win or a loss in the postseason, you were never fully committed and it didn't mean enough to you, right? So everyone cries in different moments, right?
Right.
Like I remember walking off losing to San Antonio, my second year, and I was like on the verge of crying, right? And I saw a bunch of grown men who had never been in that spot crying before. I know in your 97 championship, there were lots of people crying. So
Well, they made him cry.
Yeah,
he made other people cry.
Yeah,
He wasn't
yeah.
really crying in that same way, crying
Yeah.
happiness.
I ran into some rough roads early on in my career and got very emotional. So I can understand where Joe was coming from right there. I mean, it's tough because they were expected to do well and to get pushed into a Game 7 and knowing that that's not an advantage for you when you're the road team. And
Yep.
It was soft, but
Well, look at Kawhi
always
Leonard
the home
here.
team deserves to win.
Yeah, 79% of the time the home team wins.